Hello, my name is Wendy Patrick, and we're going to talk about how to overcome what I'll call home court disadvantage, how to stay upbeat in quarantine. How do we use experiences of pandemics past to battle both disease and depression? For many people, the home is a place of refuge, a place to regroup, relax, and recharge, a haven within which to escape the grind of working life and wind down with loved ones. During quarantine, however, the home is viewed a bit differently. Once known as the proverbial castle, for people taking contagion concerns seriously, it becomes a fortress, a sanitary, sterile structure with strict rules. Family members worried about having become infected the last time they were out and about practice social distancing even inside the home, space permitting. Packages delivered to the front door are requested to be left outside, and then after a safe amount of time, are quickly dragged inside by a designated gloved, masked family member and thoroughly sanitized before opening. As the days pass, homebound occupants fall into a new routine. Teleworkers transform family room areas into remote offices. Kids organize their bedrooms into makeshift remote classrooms. And life goes on, as we are reminded that this too shall pass. But even when a quarantine period is over, does the experience leave a psychological toll? Research has some answers. The impact of quarantine has been studied in response to past pandemics. And one of the things they find is that depression and anxiety have been common concerns. Researchers have looked at the impact of the SARS epidemic years ago. Now, they note that that was ultimately contained successfully through worldwide quarantine measures. But while they acknowledge the effectiveness for basically curbing the spread of disease, they also want to look at the psychological impact on people who were confined. Those that have responded to survey questions regarding their well-being reported a high incidence of psychological distress. Specifically, they even found that PTSD was common for people that reported being distressed. They noted that longer periods of time in quarantine were linked with a higher incidence of PTSD symptoms. And as I go through all of this in one of my Psychology Today columns, different researchers have found different conditions that people are exhibiting after having experienced quarantine. They also note that the longer somebody's in quarantine, the longer they may potentially experience adverse symptomology. And then there's the impact of financial distress. As I explain in my column, when researchers look at this, they note that symptoms of both depression and PTSD increase as incomes fell. This probably isn't a surprise. Being in psychological distress creates anxiety. Anxiety can create depression. Information, however, is an antidote for anxiety. We don't need researchers to tell us this, although there's plenty that can. When we know what's going on, we know how to plan for it. Today, we have the benefit of more information, but sometimes it's too much information, and it's inconsistent information. Do we wear a mask? Do we not wear a mask? What kind of mask do we wear? What kind of hand sanitizer is most effective? Or should we just be washing our hands? Source credibility matters in terms of where do you go for the best information. That should be step one in terms of how to acquire a sense of power over your environment by gaining the knowledge that you need. And information is power. The takeaways from the kind of research that has been done in pandemics past that could potentially ease the discomfort of the disruption is exactly that. Get as much accurate information as you can, which can decrease anxiety. When families have a working knowledge of precautionary measures, they can take steps that are effective and appropriate. In addition, investing in good technology is money well spent when it can allow employees to work from home. Not only is this true for people who are self-employed, but also because not all employers can provide employees with the equipment necessary to work remotely, it behooves us to get up to speed ourselves. The underlying theme is that when it comes to acquiring information, proactivity does not breed paranoia, but preparedness. Sound advice from experts allow families to shelter in place while remaining safe, sane, and financially sound.